What's up, guys? It's the Resell Brothers back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about bread and butter sales versus the bangers that everybody likes to find. What is the foundation of our business? So over the last week, 15,206 in sales.
We looked at every sale and analyzed.
Yep, so we went over, found out how many of them were the bangers and how many of them were bread and butters, and we're going to show you, if you want to be full-time, where the money lies.
All right, we're going to give you a quick rundown of the numbers. These are our sales. eBay was $13,744. This is the past week. Poshmark was $1,242.45 for 59 sales. And this is the units sold down here. So we had 442 on eBay, 59 on Poshmark. And Mercari was only $219 for a grand total of $15,206. Now we're going to run down a breakdown of what price ranges are selling. Are we doing more bread and butter? Are we doing more of the heavy hitters? So we're going to break that down for you over here in this next tab. And this is a breakdown of all. These are just the eBay sales. So here's a breakdown of our eBay sales. Between $0 and $25 was 368 different sales for a total of $59.31. $26 to $50, we only had 84 sales. I would consider these to be a little more heavy hitting. I wouldn't necessarily call them bangers, but these are items that are commanding a little bit of a premium, and that's $2,647 worth of sales in the past 7 days. Now we're down to these I would consider bangers between $51 and $100. We had 8 sales in that price range for $609.92. So these are the items that are more exceptional. Maybe you find a couple a week. These are the items that you don't necessarily build your business on, but you're really happy when you find them. At least that's how we look at it. And then our $251 to $500, we had one sale for $500. Actually, I think this is the same sale.
Yeah.
So this should be $525.
Yeah.
So this is $525.
But it's
a little bit of a typo.
That's above 500. So
yeah.
That's
so
where the next one is.
And between 501 and 1,000, we had one for $525. It was a watch. It was something that we got for free, so not a item that we normally pick up. But watches can be very profitable, so definitely don't skip out on watches. If you have a watch section in your local thrift, check it out. But now we'll actually run through the sales and show you what sold, not just the price ranges, and we'll break everything down for you guys so you can see what we're picking up.
All right, everybody. So this is the watch that he was talking about that sold for $525. Frederique Constant Chrono. We had to look a lot of stuff up for this. But it did sell for $525. It was
Very nice.
in the world of watches, it's really not that expensive.
It's not a Rolex.
Yeah, it's expensive for normal people, but for the people that collect watches, it's not the top tier thousands and thousands of dollars. It was about $1,300 new, so still great watch. Sold for $525. And it sold very quickly as well. So don't skip the watch section at your thrift stores or just anywhere you're at. A lot of estate sales, you can probably find stuff like that. We don't go to a ton of those, but if you do, I would look at, because some people have collections and stuff like that. So
if you don't know about watches, I mean, I would have never known what that watch was if we didn't just get it. So definitely look stuff up. Next is a Cage's vest. This actually took a while to sell, I believe. Yeah, we originally listed it 2024, and it was actually recreated May 11th, 2025. So we use Nifty to recreate our listings. It gets our old listings kind of a little more traffic. So if you're not familiar, we have a whole course on that and everything, but we use that to recreate. So if you ever hear me say this was recreated, we just use Nifty to recreate the listing and make it fresh. And that's why this sold after so long. But this actually sold for $88. It's a Cage's golf vest. Men's extra large, and it even had a little bit of a logo situation going on it. A women's open logo on a men's vest, which is another reason this probably took a while to sell. Most of the time we don't buy stuff, but this was new with tags. So if it says women's, like PGA or women's open on a men's item, most of the time we do not pick that up, but this was a little bit of an exception to the rule.
Another weird one we found at a thrift store. This is a Walt Disney Beauty and the Beast. Now, the thing that makes this interesting is that right there, the black diamond, it says True Classics, and it has a black diamond sealed. So it was we sold it for $100. It took forever, maybe
Oh god, this had to have been recreated.
Maybe 2 years. Yep, it was May 13th. So maybe 2 years plus to sell this, but it sold for $100.
And thank you, Nifty, for recreating it and finally selling it, because I don't even know how much we paid for that. That's how old it was. Actually, it said cost, but next we have a J. Crew blazer. It sold for around $100. It is the 4-way stretch Thompson. Most of the time, these will actually say what the actual style is on it. Like you can see right here, it says J. Crew Thompson.
Most of the time, they're Ludlows, I feel like, or something.
Ludlows, Thompsons. This was retail for $398, and we sold it for $100. And it sold. Took a little while to sell. Listed $624, and was actually recreated on May 9th. So that's kind of why it sold there. But we almost always pick up men's J. Crew blazers.
It's a little Vinny Vines bundle here. It's 3 Vineyard Vines. One, let's see. Yeah, they were all pretty mid tiers. I mean, there's one new one. I don't know why that's just somebody must have really wanted that. Normally those don't sell for that much. If it's a new and it's just a long sleeve kind of thing like that, they normally don't sell for $40, but this one did. I think it was, see how it took so long to sell. 11.23 is when we listed it. So it took a while to sell because we had it overpriced, but I mean, it eventually worked out and did sell. So having a lot of items does pay off sometimes, and the fact that people find a lot in their size, is they can take advantage of the combined shipping and get rid of it. So.
And know what's in your area. Like our area has a lot of Vineyard Vines, so we kind of make sure we flood our store with it if we find it.
This sold for like 60 something.
Ooh, this is a Ralph Lauren Purple Label, made in Italy. Purple Label is the highest tier of Ralph Lauren. If you're not familiar, I actually have a little short video on Ralph Lauren labels. If you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. But this is definitely a lower tier of the Purple Label. The button-down shirts don't sell for...
Well, the cotton ones.
Yeah, the cotton button-down shirts aren't the most desirable, so this took a while to sell. This was actually listed in 2023, so this is a prime example of getting buried in the algorithm. It was recreated on May 17th using Nifty, and now we sold it. So definitely loving the recreate. It's getting us a lot of sales as of late.
Sorry to pause the video right here, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying it, but I had to tell you about Nifty.AI. It's the reselling software that we've been using over the last year. It's helped grow our business over $100,000. It's the thing that we use for delisting. It's what we use for cross-listing, and it's what we also use for the recreate feature, which has been a game changer for us. If you're interested in learning more about it, we created a free mini course to tell you everything you need to know about it, and it can help you set everything up. It goes through everything that you could possibly want to know about Nifty.AI, and it's free, 100% free. The link is in the description. It'll teach you everything you need to know about it, and it'll basically give you a trial before you even go use it, or have to purchase it. And if you do decide to purchase it, code RESELLBROS will get you 15% off, best discount on the internet. So go ahead and check it out. Now we're going to get back to the video.
This is just a pair of boots, cowboy boots. Guy said he wanted it for his daughter's wedding, and we said okay.
Okie dokie.
And yep, this sold for I think $48. So
next is a Free People item. Free People, not exactly what it used to be, but the jumpsuits and rompers do
still. This is Free People movement.
Yeah. So it's a little different, more sporty, a little more desirable. This seems to have a little bit of a better sell-through rate. But this sold for, I think it sold for that $57, and it took a little while to sell. I believe we listed them. Actually, no, it just took a little while to sell. But this was also recreated May 7th, which is why it sold for a decent amount.
This is a Banana Republic kind of bomber style jacket. It was new. We had it listed for 66, but it only sold for like 45. I think 48, maybe 45, 48, something like that. So we probably could have held out and got a little more for it. It's been listed a couple months, and we're going out of cold weather season, so we were like, well, we don't want to hold on to it for a real long time, so we just took the offer. So
it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing the offers we take on the winter items when we're coming out of the hot months. Coming out of the cold months. I said hot.
Yeah.
This was unedited. Robert Graham. This is definitely a banger. If we find anything Robert Graham new with tags, we consider that to be a pretty good find. This sold for that $57 because it was new with tags, but kind of a basic Robert Graham. Most of the time you're looking for the limited editions, the bolder patterns, but this is still, I mean, it's still a new with tags Robert Graham, so it's going to command a decent price.
Look at the back up there. Does that look like golf clubs to me, or is that am I crazy?
Yep. Oh yeah, so
it's their golf line kind of a thing they're trying to go after a little bit. So
yeah, we probably should have put skull and golf in the title of this. Maybe we'll make a note for that for later. But Robert Graham stuff does still sell for us. Not super fast, but it sells.
7 for All Mankind. The men's stuff do well.
188. Wow.
Yeah, these were new, so that's why we got them. Paid up a little bit, I believe, around like high teens. Maybe,
Slimmy.
Yeah, I think it was like $15 we paid for these. Sold them for $57 though, and they sold very quickly in less than a month.
And if you don't know, I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you're new to the channel, our SKUs basically tell you when we bought the item and how much the cost average for that trip was. So this is the number of the actual item. It's the item identifier in our SKU system. So this is the SKU for it. This is the cost average for this. So the dollar cost average for this shopping trip was $5.98. And then this is the date that it was listed. So 5/25 was the date that it was created. And this is the actual start time. So sometimes stuff gets restarted, but that's how we know. If I say we recreated something, that's how I know, because I can see when it was originally listed.
And if you look at that 72,400, that's not just some random number. That's
where we're at.
That's the number we're on.
Yeah.
So we have about 12,000 things listed, and we are on number 72,000. So
next,
a lot of things listed.
These shoes actually.
It's my turn.
Oh, sorry.
These are Nike Dunks, and they're I don't know if they were actual golf shoes or if somebody turned them into golf shoes. You can normally turn.
They're actually golf shoes.
You can actually turn any golf shoes, any shoes into golf shoes with like some kit that they have.
Why do you know that?
Because it's a pretty popular thing that people do, and they
That's
do it,
not the case.
They do them to Nikes a lot. So but these are, we just listed them as golf shoes, and they sold for $40.
Yeah, they did sell for $40, and they sold super quick. I actually took the photos for these. That's why I know they sold.
We've had them forever. They just weren't listed. We just had them.
They sold
sitting down over there.
They literally sold within a week of listing them. Actually, less than maybe a couple of days. It's crazy.
I think they were sitting in the bin over there for like a year.
If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know we've actually recently bought quite a few chubbies, polos, shorts. We got our hands on some really good stuff. This is a pair of the swimming trunks.
These are not one of them though. These are from last year.
Yeah, these are a pair of swimming trunks. These are from last year, as Tony just informed me. Oh, you're right, they aren't. Huh? I thought they were from.
These are the older ones.
I'm wrong, but these were actually listed. So they were listed in May of last year, 2024, and they were recreated in May of 2025, and they sold for $45. So definitely, we're really happy with that. I think we only paid like $12-15 for these at the most. So pretty
True
good sale.
spec. These this was a new. And this a new, geez, a piece. I have a headache.
Yeah.
I have a headache today. Sorry. True Spec is more of a tactical kind of brand. See, that kind of looks like that military style. It's a 5X, which is
huge,
crazy. I've never seen a 5X, but besides the two that we bought, and this one, it sold for I believe $42.75, and it sold very quickly. It was only listed. I mean, I don't even think it was listed for more than a month.
I feel like I didn't. I listed this. I almost feel like I didn't list it high enough because it sold so fast. This is a dress. This is the LRL dress. Ralph Lauren. Did I say that right?
Ask the comments when the video comes out.
Every time I do this, I get annihilated in the comments. I think it's my tism. I can't say this. But this sold for $40. It was listed $8.23. Was recreated in May. As you can see, we actually have recreated a bunch of stuff in May, which is why our sales have been pretty good. But originally $130. These dresses are actually normally pretty good movers, but this one took quite a while to sell.
It's an older one.
Older style. Yeah, a lot of factors. If it was a maxi dress, it would have probably sold a lot faster. But it's a little short.
Just a Johnny O. It's a new with tag Johnny O. It has this random OP. It's not like a college. Normally we'll buy these if they're a college, if it's a golf course, if it's a golf tournament that's prestigious, something like that. But we have found that the more calm down logos, nothing like the real big ones that take up like half the chest area.
Muted,
but if it's
more muted.
If it's just a kind of a ominous plain logo like that, it doesn't affect the value too much. This one did sell for around $35, and it sold quickly. So
here's a Faraday Nuit tags. We don't find Nuit tags Faraday stuff very often, but this is just a regular t-shirt, and it still sold for that $41.80 as a plain Faraday t-shirt, and it sold pretty quickly. Listed in May and sold in May. So Faraday, I mean, look, the actual retail on this was only $78.
I mean,
so
it's just a t-shirt though.
Yeah, we're getting half of retail on a Nuit tags Faraday. Yeah. So pretty much anything in Faraday.
$78 for a t-shirt.
Somebody
pays $41 for a t-shirt.
Yeah, if you're buying a t-shirt for that much, you have too much money.
Polo Ralph Lauren jeans. These are the Varick jeans, and we sell a pretty decent amount of polo jeans. We don't find them as much as like Levi's, obviously, but we still sell a pretty decent amount of them. These sold for around $26, and they sold fast, so they still sell quick.
These are a pair of Ermenegildo Zegna Super 100s worsted wool pants. They're actually older, as you can tell kind of by looking at this logo. It's an older logo for Zegna, but they still sold for $38. And did they sell quickly? Yeah, they sold relatively quickly, within a month. So pretty quick sale, pretty old item. So anytime.
2 months. Oh, I guess the start time says it must have got recreated somehow. Yeah. It's at 325 in the SKU. That's all.
But
I said that.
Like we said in our last video, Zegna stuff seems to sell for our store pretty quickly.
Nike hoodie says Nike swoosh, so that's
bread and butter for sure.
Yeah, not too crazy. I think this was a full price sale, $28.50.
I think so.
Yeah, for just a hoodie. So that's pretty high for a hoodie, actually. So
it's got this nice big. I don't know what swoosh is that basketball.
No, that's just the Nike swoosh.
Oh,
like the check.
I thought it was like swoosh.
Yeah.
Like swoosh.
This thing sold like 3 times, got returned.
Vintage
twice.
Harrington collared jacket, size 2XL. I guess it's been returned twice. That's what I just said. But yeah, we almost always pick these up if we get them for a decent, reasonable price.
Public Rec polo that's new with tags. We had quite a few of these, and they are not selling extremely fast, but it's sold for $38. So we'll take a holding it for a little bit for $38.
Yeah, we paid like $12 for them.
These have been little gold nuggets.
Sid Mashburn. We found a bunch of these recently, and by a bunch I mean like what, 12 maybe, 10,
5 or 6.
So 5 or 6. It seems like I see them sell all the time. But this sold for $38, and it sold really quickly. Sid Mashburn's definitely a bolo.
They all sold very quickly. They all sold within like
a week, maybe.
Yeah, a week or 2 of buying them. New with tags, Brooks Brothers. Sold. It's a size small, so not the greatest size for Brooks Brothers, but it did sell for $28, and it's new. It was a recreate, really old, because it was size small.
Here's a Tommy Hilfiger blazer. We don't normally pick up Tommy Hilfiger blazers. If it's a 2-piece suit, sometimes we'll pick them up. But the blazers, we've kind of steered clear from. As you can see, this was listed in December of 2023, and it took till May of 16 to sell. No, it's not 16. May 16, 2025 to sell. It was actually recreated, so that's why this sold. A lot of our sales, I mean, I swear, they almost all come from recreates. It's crazy.
Hickey Freeman polo, new with tags. Just a regular old golf polo. We'd pick this up again, but we wouldn't pay a lot for it. So it'd probably have to be pretty cheap. It's something that has a high MSRP, but the volume of selling's not there for it really. So, but it still sold for like $28.
And I think the Hickey Freeman like suits and like their wool products, cashmere, that kind of stuff does sell a lot faster. But this golf stuff's just not. It's not with it.
Everybody's trying to golf.
Yeah. Here's a Vineyard Vines long sleeve. I believe this was new without tags.
Yeah, it is.
It's the performance line though, so that's kind of why this commanded a premium. Sold for that $36.10.
Still probably listed too high. That's why it took so long to sell.
How long did it take to sell? Oh wow! Yeah, this was listed 11.
We had a weird phase of thinking Vineyard Vines was amazing.
But as you can see, recreated. So if you have this, I would consider this more of a summer because it's a performance. It's a really lightweight long sleeve, kind of like a fishing shirt. If you have some older stuff like that in your store and it's buried in the algorithm, some more summery stuff, make sure you guys get that stuff recreated or relisted and just redone, and make sure you can get that new traffic and get it sold because it helps a lot.
Izod saltwater. So we are picking up new tag Izod saltwater stuff. Some Izod if it's new, but this saltwater stuff, it was cargo, had a lot of different factors going for it. Size 40, so a little bit bigger of a size, and it sold within about a month.
Cargo seems to be hot right now for us.
So it sold for that $28.50, and it sold, like I said, in about a month. So pretty quick.
People are looking for that pocket. Put that money in that pocket. Here is a New York Jets jacket. This sold for, I believe, $28. Took a couple months to sell, but it did command a decent price. This NFL stuff, even like the generic, just NFL branded NFL stuff, does seem to sell if it's a decent size, and it does seem to sell normally in about the same time range as this did, a couple months. But it doesn't get a lot. You're not going to get a lot of money for it, for sure.
Life is Good. We buy Life is Good a lot when it's new or if it's really cheap used.
Super bread and butter brand. Yeah.
Yep, but this one, go to the back of it.
The back. Oh, there it is.
Smoke Show.
Wow.
That's a pretty cool little
Sounds
logo
like my
there.
wife.
And then your wife grills?
No, she's a... Never mind.
It's over $28.50 new.
She doesn't watch this anyway. It don't matter. All right, next is a pair of bonobos pants. This actually sold for $33.25. It's kind of a weird size, 35 by 28. So the size, I'm not a huge fan of the size, but they did sell for quite a bit of money, and they sold pretty quickly. So definitely don't sleep on bonobos. Not everything is good, but this particular style of pants seems to sell well for us.
Polo, just a classic white
with
polo.
No stains, rare.
Yeah, this did sell for $28.50. Weirdly enough, normally we take offers on these for around $20, sometimes a little less, but this one sold for $28.50. So
I feel like it's almost like if it's white and there's no stains on Ralph Lauren, it'll sell for more money because there's just almost everything has a stain on it. Next is Green Bay Packers. This is a new with tags Nike Polo. It sold for around $30 and it sold pretty quickly. Sold within a couple of months of being listed. We like the Nike NFL stuff, especially if it's new. It sells pretty quick.
7 diamonds. This was the Alfie style, new with tags and 4-way stretch. All that stuff could go in the title. This one, we normally try to take offers of 25 and up for these. I believe this one was around 28, and it sold pretty quick. I like the pink. The pink seems to do pretty well. Pink and white.
You would like the pink. Next is a pair of Oakley men's golf pants. This is a newer style Oakley. You can tell by the logo and just by how nice they are. The new stuff seems to be a little nicer. This sold for $30 and it sold really quickly. So the Oakley men's golf pants are doing pretty well for our store right now. I think we sold actually a couple other pairs as well.
North Face, these sold for 28? I think it was 28. And they are convertible, so that just means that they turn into shorts. You can get rid of those pant legs. Belted, good thing we couldn't fit that. Oh yeah, we did fit it in the title. Belted, hiking, outdoor. If you have extra room, camping stuff, weird stuff like that, but did well.
Oh yeah, make sure.
You need to put cargo. I mean, they were cargo, so it was in the title too.
Here's a little bit of a keyword play here. This is a herringbone. So if you see, I don't know if I can get close enough to see. If you see this pattern, this is a herringbone. I don't know, I keep zooming in and out. If you see this pattern, this is a herringbone pattern. Hopefully you can see that. This sold for $44. It was new with tags, but Banana Republic's just a basic mall brand, so we're pretty happy with that sale. Took several months to sell, but still commanded a little bit of a premium.
IB Cool. This is a sub-brand of Cool. Everybody knows Cool, K-U-H-L. But IB Cool, they had some... They're not paisley, but it almost kind of looks like it.
Abstract.
We put paisley in the title just because, kind of has that same style. Sold for $28 and sold quick. Sold about a month and a half.
So. Ooh, I get the Michigan. This is a Michigan sweatshirt hoodie, but I don't know what I said. I read the word sweatshirt. Okay, it's a Michigan hoodie, but it's kind of like a retro style. So if you see these retro style college team stuff, they do seem to sell a little faster and they sell for more money. This sold for $30 and it sold really quickly within about a month, maybe a month and a half. So actually I wish it would have been my size. I would have kept it, but
it was even a small.
Yeah, so yeah. Definitely a cool find.
Orvis fleece. This one sold a little kind of faster than I thought. Orvis fleece, nothing really crazy about it, but it sold in about 4 or 5 months and it sold for $18 or $19. Didn't pay a lot for it though. So
next is just your basic Ralph Lauren knit vest. This sold for, I think it sold for $28.50, and it took a while. Actually, listed in May, sold in May, so sold really quickly.
Took a really long time.
Normally they do. So in my defense, most of the time I would be right when I said it took a while to sell. But I think this thing was in pretty good shape, to be honest. No stains, no holes, so that's kind of why it sold quickly.
Charles Tierwit.
I get commercials. Charles Tillett, we demand excellence.
Kind of just a classic little polka dot tie, and Christian put pin dot. So I don't know
pin dot
what the difference is there, but maybe a little smaller. It sold for $28, $28.50, I believe, or something to that effect.
It says
it does say pin dot. That's where you got it. Yep. Charlie T.
Next is actually
check your ties. I found a Keton the other day for like $1.
What's Keton?
Keton's a brand
of suit normally, like a expensive clothier.
I have a crazy Keaton find in my repertoire. It was a Vicuña Keaton blazer, no big deal.
Was it a find or an arbitrage?
It was a find.
Thought it was an
I found it
arbitrage.
at Ohio Thrift for $20 and made a lot. This is actually kind of surprising to me. I'm pretty sure Tony picked these up.
I did.
They were a pair of new with Tag Jerry, which is a brand I normally just kind of pass on. It's not my favorite brand to sell. It seems to take a while to sell. But these shorts, these hiking performance shorts, sold really quickly, and they sold for that $28.50, a full price sale. So maybe that's on me.
In fact, this week we sold another one.
Yeah.
For the same price.
So I guess Tony knows what he's doing. You can listen to him.
Under Armour. These are ripstop. They are cargo. They're kind of Under Armour's outdoor hunting kind of stuff. So we we couldn't fit all of that in the title because we ripstop and cargo and stuff like that took up some room. But that kind of line does well. Sold for that $28.50 as well.
Next this is a full price sale. This sold for $35. This is a Grayson shark print polo. Now, some of these, make sure that if you get a Grayson polo, you're looking up the particular pattern on it because some of them command a premium. Even like there was a Roosevelt's polo I was listing yesterday. I did a quick Google Lens of that, and it was a rare discontinued pattern. And instead of selling for like $35, it sold for like well over $100. So these Grayson polos could do the same thing, maybe not quite to that extent, but make sure you're looking them up because sometimes they're worth a little more money.
If you didn't know, Grayson's a golf brand as well. He didn't mention that.
Well, it's a golf polo, so.
Peter Millar. Well, there's some polos that aren't golf.
Okay.
Peter Millar. That's the only reason I said it. Oh, what? Peter Millar. Just a regular quarter zip, size medium. It's a green color. And yeah, sold for around 20. I think this was like $25 or $26. So nothing crazy there.
This
still sells though.
Very, very bread and butter. I think Peter Millar falls into
somebody said they didn't agree that Peter Millar doesn't sell. I mean, does sell. We said that Peter Millar has a good sell-through rate for our store, and somebody in the comments of the last video that we made claimed that their Peter Millar is sitting for a long time.
You know what you should do? You should unsubscribe.
No, don't do that.
I'm just kidding.
But for our store, it seems to sell pretty decent.
How about lost the contact? This is a definite bread and butter find. This is a pair of Prana pants. Sold for $23.75. The Prana stuff I'd say it's pretty comparable in men's and women's, but we normally only buy it in men's. The women's stuff takes a little longer to sell, but definitely a nice bread and butter sale, sold in a couple of months.
Duluth Trading denim button down sold for $28, and it sold in about a month and a half. So we don't really pick up all Duluth. There are some specific ones that we do, and this is one of them.
The denim shirts. I feel like a denim shirt, I mean,
women's Duluth does all right too. So.
Yeah. Here's a pair of Uggs Fluffy slippers. These were new without tags, great condition. We don't buy a lot of shoes, but we bought these because they were in great shape, and we knew we could get $30 for them pretty much instantly, which is what happened. They sold in like a day, so quick sale.
Untuckets sold for $17. Untuckets are kind of hated on nowadays in the videos that people watch, but we still sell them. So
pretty quick too. How long did that take?
About a month.
Oh, not that quick.
Like 5-6 months.
Yeah, it took a while, but this one was recreated as well. It was listed originally 2024. Holderness in Bourne is a pretty good golf brand still. A lot of the golf brands have kind of become a little oversaturated.
Just have a bunch of different golf brands.
Yeah, and the variety has kind of increased since we first started reselling. So we've seen stuff doesn't seem to sell as quickly as it used to, but this brand still holds pretty strong. Sold for that $23.75, and it sold pretty quickly, a couple months.
Lululemon sold for, I mean, you're gonna be surprised, but only $25. It's a newer style of Lulu. You can tell by the square size dot instead of a circle size dot.
You can kind of see it over here in this corner.
Anyway, just they don't sell for as much as they used to, and so 25 was a pretty decent sale for that. We didn't pay a ton for it though, so it worked out okay.
That's a pretty good tip though. Make sure you're looking, if it's a square size dot, a lot of times if you look that number up, they'll be worth a little more because they're newer.
Not that time though.
Yeah, not that time, but sometimes. Under Armour Cold Gear joggers. This was kind of like a little bit of a test. I know the Cold Gear Under Armour stuff does cost more money in the stores, so we bought these joggers to try them out, and they sold pretty much instantly for that $25.65. This is a nice bread and butter item that you can get at pretty much any thrift store, and they're not usually going to mark them up. So
I wouldn't expect these to sell instantly. I'd be hopeful that they would sell quick, but be prepared that they might sit for a little bit.
If you're at the bins and you see them and there's no stains, I mean, you can definitely pick them up. They're going to sell for a profit.
511 Tactical, performance, hunting, military. We just throw all those keywords in there for 511 Tact. And it sold for $20. Or 21, I think it was 21.85 to be specific.
Oh, this is a Resell Brothers specialty here, selling crap brands with college sports teams. This is a Coliseum Michigan Wolverines jacket. It sold for this $23.75. It took a little while to sell, so these kind of generic name brands aren't flying off the shelves, but they do seem to sell in that $20 to $30 price range if it's a decent sports team.
Pro tip: if it is a crappy brand but a good team, put the team first.
Right.
Brand at the end.
Yep.
Coliseum at the end.
Absolutely.
If it's Nike, you can put that more towards the top. Vintage Yukon Huskies t-shirt. Whoa. National champions of 1999. This was pretty cool, little find. Sold for that $28.50, and it sold very quickly as well. So
next is a pair of hideous looking Ed Hardy shorts. Hopefully that loads. They got a big giant Ed Hardy on the butt. So Ed Hardy, I don't really know how I feel about this brand. I'm honestly not a huge fan, but these sold pretty quickly. We found that sweat shorts seem to sell well in like Nike, Under Armour, obviously Ed Hardy. A lot of these mid-tier mall brands, sweat shorts are pretty popular, so they seem to sell for us.
A lot of pilling on that, so I'm good if I remember.
It's so quick, real quick.
These are seersuckers, and I've noticed that the pull-on variety of shorts have been doing pretty well.
They're Old Navy seersuckers.
So it's Old Navy, and they were just pull-on shorts, and they sold very quickly, about a month. Probably around a month, and it sold for $22.80. So Old Navy coming through.
A brand that I would say 95% of resellers don't pick up. This is a pair of Built Kinetic.
You talking about Old Navy or Built?
Old Navy.
Okay.
No,
you switched off of Built. You switched on to Built and then said that.
Rewind. I was talking about Old Navy, not Built. Built, you should be buying if you're a reseller, hopefully. This is a pair of Built Kinetic men's shorts. These sold for that $26.60, which is pretty decent for a pair of used shorts. The pants in Built are a little bit better, but the shorts are still doing pretty well for us.
Denim and Supply, Ralph Lauren hoodie. It's an Aztec Chief.
Got a nice stain on it too.
Why do we put Aztec with Indian Chief? Native American, sorry.
It's a little redundant, isn't it?
Well, no, Aztec. Were they Native American? I don't know. Anyway, this sold for like $22.
Well, they were in America before we were here. So.
Was it America or were they in Latin America?
It's still America.
I don't know.
There's North America, South America, and Central America. They're all America.
Geography.
Here's a Eddie Bauer Travix hiking shirt. This sold for that $23.75. Actually, we probably only expected to get about $15 to $20 on this, but it sold for a little more, which we're obviously not going to complain about. It was also recreated May 2nd, so make sure you're refreshing your listings. It definitely helps.
Idaho Vandals. This was an example of a better brand with a poopier team. So Idaho Vandals. This one sold for $21.85.
All right.
I used color block in that.
I
guess it worked. Yeah. I mean, that's two
kind of colors.
Is.
Next is a J. Crew regular button-down shirt. It is used, but it has lobsters all over it. We found that lobster print. Another print that's a good one is whales. Sometimes when there's whales or fish all over them, like any type of all-over print, especially lobster. I don't know why, but lobsters. Flamingo, that's what I was thinking of. Flamingos are good as well. But
pineapples.
But it's an all-over print. It sold for $22.80. So if you find an all-over lobster, it can be good.
Only lobsters. If you find any other print, throw it away.
I was gonna say 4-leaf clovers. I don't know why.
Uniqlo. So we've been selling a lot of Uniqlo lately. Even the used Uniqlos. So these sold for that $20.90, and it sold, I mean, as you can see, in less than a month. So we never pay up for Uniqlo, and I mean, if it's new, we might pay $5. But
the label on this is kind of weird.
Is
looking.
it Uniqlo?
Yeah.
Uniqlo.
Yeah, that's it. That's how you spell it.
No, I mean I know that's how you spell it, but is that how you say it?
No idea.
So yeah. Weird brands that you probably don't pick up.
Next is a pair of J. Crew joggers. They're also camo, kind of combining the keyword jogger and camo is what's selling this. It sold pretty quickly within a couple of months and for around $20. So nice bread and butter find there.
Buffalo Bills. This was the brand was Chalkline in this. I didn't know how well known that was, so I told them the VAs to put that at the end. These sold for $20. They're kind of athletic shorts, but they have these the big Bills print. And yeah, they sold very quickly, less than a month.
Next is a
if you want to fake your friends out.
Yeah, if you want to act like you're smart when you're not really. This is a Harvard University hat. This sold really, really quickly. And I believe it was a full price sale, $26.60.
Psycho Bunny.
They told me I had to retake my test.
This was a $20 sale, and it sold in less than a month too. So it doesn't have any Psycho Bunny branding anywhere. Probably would have sold for a little more if it did, if it had like the little bunny on the chest, but it didn't, sadly. So, but still sold for $20.
Here is a Cricket men's golf polo. Cricket's another one of those brands.
We still don't know if it's Cricket or just regular old cricket, but
we'll call it. You know what? I said we call it Cricket.
Cricket sounds but Cricket sounds fancy.
Cricket.
But it was designed in just Austin, Texas, so it's probably.
It's got to be Cricket. That's how they say it. Cricket. This is a Cricket polo, sold for, I think, what, $23? Cricket's still pretty good.
One more time.
Cricket and flip it, baby. All right, next we have a Tommy Bahama Island Zone shirt, but this one kind of has a cool pattern to it, a little unique, kind of like a darker pattern. This sold for around $20, and it sold pretty quickly within 1 month of being listed.
Some Adidas Chino, just plain old golf shorts. I think these only sold for like $14. Probably a recreate, if I had to guess.
Next is a Nike Polo, but this one has the advantage of being a Tiger Woods. If you see this little TW on the back of a Nike Polo, that means Tiger Woods. They normally sell a little faster, maybe for a little tiny bit more money, not a lot more. This sold for around $20, and it sold, how long did it take? Let's see. Sold within a month, so pretty quickly.
Big Baller brand.
Uh-oh.
Anybody know the Big Baller brand? LeVar Ball and his sons.
Send prayers. He's
Lonzo,
lost a foot.
LaMelo, and who's the other one? Who's the irrelevant?
Huh?
Lonzo, LaMelo, and
LeVar.
That's the dad. I forget the son, the middle brother's name.
Something with an L.
Yeah.
Anyway,
matter. Yep, sold for like $15.
Next is a pair of American Eagle shorts. These were actually recreated. They're new with tags. They sold for $20. So another reminder to make sure you are recreating or relisting your summer items.
Under Armour Tough Mudder. So this was, if you look at the back of the shirt,
Tough.
It'll say Tough Mudder.
Dang, this kind of got a cool camo.
It sold for that $18.05.
We love Under Armour camo.
Pretty quick
stuff.
too. I only paid $1 for it.
Only $1. Wow. What luck! Here's a pair of Untuck It khaki pants. Untuck It, everybody hates it, but it sells okay. I mean, it's not going to blow you away, but it does sell. These sold for around $19, and they sold in a couple of months. Not super fast movers, but they did sell.
Is it Leangelo?
One buy. This is kind of cool.
So this is a Barstool Sports.
Are you still thinking about
Yeah,
that?
it was. One bite. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Dave Portnoy, his little show he does on is it YouTube or is it Instagram? Kind of everywhere. Is One Bite. Everybody knows the rules, where he tries pizza places. This was on a Comfort Colors tag. If you find Barstool, it's never on a Barstool tag for the most part. It's all on some random. Normally it's
this little logo here.
Yeah, Comfort Colors a lot of times. Sometimes it's on just like an Unreal, UNRL. It's just a whole bunch of other different brands. So don't be afraid of that. Barstool Sports is the main brand, sold for $18. We probably could have put Dave Portnoy in the title.
Next is a pair of J. Crew camo shorts. This is very, very bread and butter, very pay like $1, $2 tops for these. and they're going to sell between $15 to $20. I believe these sold for like 16 bucks, maybe 18, but around that price range. And they sold really quickly, listed in April of this year and sold in May.
Free Fly, just a plain old Free Fly shirt. Polo, it was definitely recreated May 8th. It was originally listed in July
Free Fly
of last year.
3XL.
Normally this does sell quicker. I think we probably had it priced too high originally. It did sell for that $22.80. Big size too.
Yeah, another reason to refresh your listings.
I know we're saying recreate a lot.
I said refresh.
Well, same concept.
Relist. I mean, just relist. However you do it, it doesn't matter.
But it has really worked, and just getting everything going through the algorithm, and you know, getting seen with fresh eyes and getting pushed to the top of the page instead of being pushed down at the bottom. It really does help. We wouldn't be saying if it didn't work.
Next is a U.S. Polo. This is not Ralph Lauren. So if you see U.S. Polo, I know when I made my Ralph Lauren video, somebody commented, "You forgot U.S. Polo." That's not Ralph Lauren, unfortunately. It's like I don't know why. They look almost identical, but they're not the same. And the quality is obviously way different. But these sold for like 18 bucks. They're new with tags. We paid $1 for them, and they sold within like maybe three months, maybe. But still made pretty decent profit.
Paul Stewart, this sold for 15. We had it for let's see, about 2 months. Paul Stewart. Some stuff is better. I mean, it's kind of like everything else. It's just a plain button down.
They have some stuff that's crazy.
Some stuff's really expensive. If the more substantial pieces, like we have a leather vest, I believe, that we're trying to sell for a whole bunch. That
like $500.
It still hasn't sold yet.
Hey,
so.
it'll happen. It's not.
You'll hear about it when you'll hear about when it happens. You want to know why you'll hear about it when it happens? Because he bought it.
I buy the stuff. I pay up for some stuff, but I'll tell you what, it's gonna sell. Mack Weldon, I believe there's something wrong with this. Maybe not.
No, this don't sell for a lot anymore.
Yeah, well, I guess Mack Weldon.
If it's just a plain shirt like this, pants and stuff sell for a little more.
$19 sold in less than a month.
Tipsy Elves with the rubber ducky.
Wow.
And
you have
this
a Jeep.
did sell for that 15.
Comment if you know about the Jeep rubber ducky.
It had a stain. Actually, no, it might have sold for like 10 or 12.
No, it sold for 15. I looked at it.
Oh, it had a stain on it.
It sold for 15 with stains. I bet somebody with a Jeep bought it.
Yeah. Why are you obsessed with the Jeep? Maybe it's somebody that has kids and they like rubber duckies.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you're interested in Nifty, you can use our code RESELLBROS or use the link in the description to get 15% off, the biggest discount they have available. Also, we have a free mini course on it. If you're kind of wishy-washy, you don't really know if you can handle a new software, that'll run you through it for free. And you can kind of see the rundown and see how it works and get a good understanding of whether or not it's a good fit for you.
We're on our way to 10,000 subs.
Please
subscribe.
Need it.
We want it. We gotta have it. So please hit subscribe, like the video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.